Welcome to another Verbling project management class. We'll get started shortly. Today's class is going to focus on project quality management. All the information from today's class is going to be taken from the Project Management Book of Knowledge, known as the PMBOK. This document is printed by the Project Management Institute, and I'll be teaching from the 5th edition, which was released in 2013. We're going to talk about project quality management, which is a knowledge area that includes all processes and activities of the performing organization that determine quality policies, objectives, and responsibilities. This is done so that the project will satisfy the needs for which it was undertaken. So why do we have a project? What were the requirements of that? Project quality management will help ensure that we get what we asked for. Now, project quality management does use policies and procedures to implement a project in accordance with the initial requirements. So what was it about? And also the organization's quality management system. So what does the organization expect out of its projects? There are several processes that make up project quality management. Hello, Hyde.
Hello, nice to see you again.
Nice to see you. Good morning.
Good morning.
How's the weather in Japan? Is it cooler now?
Now Japan, it's rainy season, so every day the cloudy or raining. Sometimes we can see the blue sky.
Sounds like our winter.
Not winter. Temperatures are very good. Not too hot, not too cold.
Not in our winter. It's very cold.
Maybe the same as your place.
Could be. Could be indeed. Yeah, maybe. It's possible. Although when we have cold winters, we have very cold winters.
Do you know Brazil and Croatia? The soccer match just finished.
Yeah?
So maybe Brazilians they concentrate their match.
Yeah, well, it's very important. Well, Hyde, I want to ask you a few questions. Since the last class, what are some of the areas you've been focusing on?
I don't know. I didn't attend the last class.
No, the last class you attended, what areas did you focus on? What learning objectives do you have?
I'm sorry, I can't hear a little noise.
What learning objectives are you focusing on?
Pronunciation.
Okay. Good. So as we get into today's class, I want you to think about your consonants. Remember, don't speak too fast, and make sure all your consonants are enunciated.
Concentrate to the pronunciation and
fluently.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't get those consonants.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll get started shortly. And Alexandra, hello, or Sasha.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Let me ask you too. What are your learning objectives?
Just perfecting the language in general.
So speaking more, pronunciation.
Speaking and writing, yeah.
Okay, good. Well, I'll continue to incorporate writing into my classes then. And Nora just joined us. Hello, Nora.
Hi.
Hi. Nora, what are your learning objectives?
Well, these days I have many job interviews. That's why I'm trying to improve my speaking skills
Okay, very
and
good.
everything.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, you will get to do a lot of speaking in the class. It's one thing I believe in doing a lot of. And let's see who else just joined us here. Savo, or Savo, how do I say your name?
Savio. Hi.
Savio.
Savio. É. Savio. Savio.
Savio, where are you from?
I'm from Brazil.
Ah, Brazil.
Yes.
World Cup is underway.
Yes. World Cup have finished now. I was watching on TV.
Oh, really? Who won?
Sorry.
Who won? Who won the cup?
Brazil.
Brazil won. Ah, excellent. What are your learning objectives in English, Savio?
So my objective to learn English is to improve my pronunciation and my comprehension too. I need to improve it more.
Okay, good. We can certainly work on that. Now, today, our focus is actually on project management. Okay, we're going to focus on project quality management. This is, I believe, class 6 of a 13 series course. We will talk about project management. We will talk about project management vocabulary. We'll talk about processes, tools, and techniques. But I want to do a bit of a review. So what is a project? Let's start off for those of you who've been taking this class for a while. What is a project? Hyde, what is a project?
A plan, making strategy for the plan.
No, that's not a project. Good guess, though. Alexandra, what is a project? Tell me some characteristics of a project.
If only I remembered.
This is very important. Ah,
It's been a
Raphael.
long time. I forgot everything.
This you shouldn't forget. Raphael, tell me what a project is.
Well, it's a set of activities we make in advance in order to have something done, to have some objective achieved, I think.
Okay, well, that's a good guess. You did a better job at guessing than Alexandra did, but that's not what a project is.
It's a plan.
It's not a plan. No, it isn't. You see, a project, we're talking about a project as defined by the Project Management Institute. If you don't get this right, you will fail the exam. You will fail these questions related to project management. So we need to know what a project is, otherwise we can't really manage projects. It's not possible. So I'm going way back into my book here. It's a very big book to find the textbook definition of what it is. And I'll read it to you. And then Alexandra, in Google Drive, I want you under project, where it says define and project, to type out what it is that I'm saying. So everybody go ahead and open Google Drive and then click on Hangout Notes. And this is a big book, very big book. I'm almost there. See, I was ready to do project quality management. I thought somebody would know the definition. portfolio management. Yeah, here it is. What is a project? All right, Alexandra, get ready to write. So a project is a temporary endeavor to create a unique product, service, or result. Nobody's typing.
We should type?
Yes, I did ask if you could type.
Okay, well, it's
Okay, so a project is a temporary endeavor to create a unique product, service, or result. Temporary means it ends. We start it, we finish it. That's it. Project is over. Okay? The end is reached when the project's objectives have been achieved, or we terminated the project. So that's the definition of a project. It's very important. What's significant about that definition? Why is that so important? Anyone? Why is that important?
I think saying temporary is very important. That means that we have to finish it. There has to be time plan.
Okay, so this is where the planning comes in, right? Because if we know that it has a certain time that it must finish, we need to plan accordingly, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that is very important. Raphael, what is the name of today's class?
It's about project quality management.
Project quality management. Okay, so if we're on a project and we know that it needs to be completed by a certain date, we need to monitor something, and what do you think that is that we need to do? It's quality, right?
Yes.
So quality management is very important. It helps to ensure that we stay on schedule. It helps to ensure that we don't spend over budget, so we don't spend too much money. It's also important to make sure that the reason for the project are still valid. So we had a reason for this project. Is it still valid? Has anything changed? On a project, if you do have a change, that needs to be managed. If people start changing the project, okay, people start changing the project and it hasn't been approved, that's a good chance the project is going to fail. Right? So let me read something to you out of the PIM book. Project quality management includes the processes and activities of the performing organization, okay, that determine quality policies, objectives, and responsibilities so that the project will satisfy the needs for which it was undertaken. Wow, that's a really long and complicated definition. Raphael, what do you think they're trying to say here? This is kind of difficult to read. What are they trying to say about project quality management?
I think the quality management it's required to I don't know, create a warranty of the quality, you know, to define, to as it as the text explained, to ensure that we'll have the quality on our products in the final of the project, when we had our results, and the results will have quality, I think.
Well, see, that the important thing about quality is that you don't wait for the results. You don't want to wait till the end to find out if you are successful. That could be bad. You could get fired. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that the project will satisfy the needs for which it was started, undertaken, right? So why did we start this project? Okay? So we've got a lot of words here, and really what we're focusing on is we want to make sure the reasons why we started this project are still valid. We want to make sure that we're still working towards reaching the same goals, to make sure the quality of the project is sufficient for us to be successful. So I have a need to build a highway from one city to another, let's say Montreal to Toronto, and it's going to be 4 lanes wide. I want to keep monitoring to make sure that that highway is being built in the right place for the right quality. And the first part of the definition, again, these are very complex definitions, I know, but really they're just talking about what are the things that I have to do? What are the processes and activities? Okay? When we work for a company, there are policies that we have to follow. There are procedures that we have to follow. Okay? So let's think about a highway again. We all know what a highway is. Now imagine this highway. Let's think about it for a minute. Alexandra, tell me about a highway. What do you picture as a highway?
A highway is a road which connects two cities. People usually travel at a high speed on the highway, and it's a two-way street. And highways can be crossed, not crossed, but there can be a very developed system of highways.
Okay.
I don't know how to explain, but several roads which one goes below the other. Yeah.
Ramps. No, you do not need to stop. So interchange.
You can't stop actually there.
Yeah. So what we call that in the West is we call those interchange or freeways. Interchangeless. So we actually do not have to stop at intersections as long as there's not a lot of traffic. If we need to turn off, we take an off ramp or an exit. Okay. So yeah, it's a high-speed road that connects two cities. In this case, Montreal and Toronto. So how many lanes do we want to have on this road, Anton? We're connecting two large cities. How many lanes do you think we need?
Yeah, almost. We need 2 on both the directions.
Okay, so 4. That's both directions.
And when we find any kind of interchange or access to another road, we need to for a little time. Probably we need one more or two more.
Okay. When all right. Joseph, now imagine we're building a highway. Do we want to build a highway that will only last a year or two?
So what do you say?
If we're building a highway, how many years do we want it to last?
So I came so late, so I don't know what you are talking about. So
We're talking about building a highway. So if we're building a highway,
building.
how many years would we want that to last before we have to repair it?
I don't have no idea.
What do you mean, no idea? I'm asking you, if we're building a road, how many years would you like us to be able to build it for so we don't have to repair it?
I don't really understand.
Okay, do you know what a highway is?
I don't know what that means.
Do you know what a road is?
No.
Okay. This is an advanced level class. To be in this class, we're going to be using large words, or we're going to be speaking rather fast, so you might want to consider taking a beginner or intermediate class, as it might be difficult for you to understand the material that we're going to be talking about.
Okay.
All right, Nora.
Yes.
So imagine we're building a highway between two major cities. How many years would we want this to last before we have to fix or repave it?
Of course, as many as we can.
Okay, well, there's money tied to that, right? So what do you think?
Minimum.
Yeah, what's a minimum?
30 years maybe.
Okay. Of tough requirement. Excellent, though. Okay, so let's go back to talking about quality management. So Raphael, as an engineer, starts this project to build a highway. His company from Brazil has won the contract, and he goes out and gets all the permits. He hires the subcontractors, and he starts building the highway. So should he do anything to check to make sure that the highway is being built properly?
Yeah, maybe he should draw a time plan.
Yeah, maybe you should do some check the time to see if we're on schedule, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe they should discuss the price first.
Well, yeah, we probably would have done that, but we want to make sure that things are, material prices haven't gone up, right?
Yeah.
Now, you wanted this highway to last 30 years, so we need to ensure is because if we use a low-grade material to pave the road, it's not going to last as long, right?
Yeah.
We also need to make sure the foundation of the road uses the right quality. So we need to ensure that the pavement and foundation is of high quality. Raphael.
Yes.
Have you ever seen a road being built?
No, I haven't seen yet. Just some videos from constructions, but not not in, I don't know, no, not in person, not I haven't been there to see the construction, just in
Okay.
videos.
So what is a road usually made out of? What are the two most common materials to make a road out of?
Concrete.
Concrete? Yeah. So,
Asphalt.
yeah, concrete and asphalt. Okay, these are two common materials. Okay? Concrete and asphalt. Which one costs more?
I think the concrete is more expensive.
Costs a lot more, but it lasts a lot longer too. So since NORA made one of the requirements that we want it to last 30 years, every few miles we probably want to check the quality, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah. Perhaps we want to check the quality coming off the trucks. So when the cement trucks come, before we lay the road, maybe we want to test the quality of the cement. Cement is what concrete is made out of. When we pour cement, it turns into concrete. Okay? You see what we're doing here? We're constantly checking what we're doing. That's how we ensure our quality stays where it's at. So for the pavement to last 30 years, we need to make sure that from start to end, the quality is consistent. Okay? We also want to make sure that, as Anton suggested, that it be at least 4 lanes, and that when another road is intersecting, we widen it to take up for the extra traffic. Okay? Let's go back to talking about some processes. Okay? When it comes to quality management, one of the first things we need to do is we need to plan it. Just bear with me here, because I want to copy and paste this for you guys. Okay. So we want to plan. Okay. So, Sasha, I want you to imagine for me a minute that you're in charge of a large project such as building a highway. Okay, we want to ensure that the end product is high quality, will last for 30 years. We want to ensure that all of our requirements are met.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when we're planning the quality, what are some things that we need to do? Okay, what are some of the things you think we need to do?
When we are planning the quality, I think I know there is something which is called, I'm not sure whether it's relevant, something like ISO 9000. So these
I
are
didn't hear all of that. I heard 000.
ISO 9000.
Oh, ISO.
ISO, yeah, maybe I mispronounced.
International Standards Organization.
Yeah, so that leads us to some kind of standards.
Okay, excellent. Okay, very good. So let's look at the definition here of plan quality management. Again, this is from the PMI. I'm not making this up myself. Actually, Raphael, please read to me the definition for plan quality management.
Plan quality management. The process of identifying quality requirements and/or standards for the project and its deliverables and documenting how the project will demonstrate compliance with quality requirements.
Yeah. So Sasha talked about ISO standards. They're international and they're well recognized. So if we're planning a project of this scale, well, we want to establish what are our standards, right? How do we ensure that we meet our quality? Well, maybe there's ISO standards for highway construction, and we want to be audited against those standards. Okay? We also have our deliverables and our requirements. Maybe weekly we get together and we review to make sure that everybody is doing what they're supposed to be doing. Maybe we set up tests to ensure that the concrete that is being delivered is of a high grade. In the world, there have been many bridges built, very, very advanced modern bridges. And if the concrete doesn't meet a certain quality, the bridge can fail. When every truck comes to that construction site, they pour a sample of concrete and they test it. If it fails, they send the truck back. Right? If we just go ahead and build the road and don't test it, at worst, the bridge could fail, or it could cost us a lot of money to maintain it. Right? So think about it. We want to plan our quality. What kind of plan should it look like? Well, that's what you have to discuss with your people. Who can remember what the term SME means? S-M-E. What does SME mean?
A small, medium enterprise.
Good guess, but no, that's not the TLA I'm looking for.
Standard? Measure?
No. Subject matter expert. Okay. Subject matter expert is what, Raphael?
I have no idea.
Well, think about it. Look at those words there. Subject matter expert. What is this person?
Perhaps it's a professional who has expertise in deal with matters
Okay,
related to this subject, I think.
well, let's look at the phrase here for a minute. We have adjectives here, right? And what do they
Yes.
describe? What are they modifying?
They are modifying the given a quality, not a
Nope.
quality, given
There's
a
no
definition.
quality. There's no quality in there. What are the three words that we have here?
They are nouns. And
Okay. Well, subject matter does what to... That's what I'm trying to get at here. Subject matter modifies what word?
experts.
Yeah. So a subject matter expert is an expert, right?
Yes.
Okay. But in what? That's what we're getting at. A subject matter expert is an expert in some subject matter. So for building highways, we will want subject matter experts in concrete, subject matter experts in land, or geology, right? Because if we build a highway over a swampy area or an area with a lot of sand, the road will sink and collapse. We need subject matter experts in project management. You see what I'm saying? It's getting the right people together. Now, Anton may be a very smart project manager, but Anton doesn't know how to build bridges or highways. So Anton would want to bring all these people together. We just call them subject matter experts. They're highly trained and qualified people in their field. Okay? And that's how you plan your quality management. Guys, we're building a highway. What do we need to do to make sure it gets done on time and according to our specifications. So Nora, that was great. Sasha, Alexandra, you gave me some really good points, and that's what we would do when we go to plan our quality management. Guys, what do we need to do? We write things down, we put them on a board, we take down everything, and we start to plan what we need to do before we start the project. Okay, the next process is perform quality assurance. Sasha, could you read the definition for perform quality assurance, please?
The process of auditing the quality requirements and the results from quality control measurements to ensure that appropriate quality standards and operational definitions are used.
Okay, it's a lot of big words there. Do you understand what they're trying to get us to do here?
Mm-hmm.
It's a mouthful. Okay, so what are we trying to do with this process?
Ensure that appropriate quality standards. Maybe we compare.
Okay, there's some comparing, right? What does the word auditing mean?
Checking.
Yeah. Yeah, it means, sorry guys, the doctor's calling. Yep, appointment's at 3:30 tomorrow, right? Okay, I'll be there. Thanks, bye. Sorry guys, it's an important doctor's appointment I have to catch, so. All right, so auditing means to check. It's, write this word down, it's a business term, it's very important. So auditing means we check, all right? This is where we actually do the work. We ensure that the appropriate quality standards, remember we talked about standards in planning. This is where we make sure those standards are being followed. Okay? Actually,
How do we do that?
well, this one's very simple, right? Because when we did the planning up here in 8.1, we already determined how we were going to check them. Right? We might have said, okay, for the concrete, we're going to check every truck. Okay? So we monitor the quality of the cement that's coming in before we bother putting it on the road surface. Because I can guarantee you, if you go to pull up dried concrete, it costs a lot much more than sending a truck away. And then we say, okay, so we'll check every truck, but you know what? We want to make sure that the concrete has cured properly. It's hardened. So every 2 miles, we'll check the concrete. We'll do a core sample. We'll drill into the road, we'll get a sample of concrete, and we'll test it for strength. Okay? We will say which company we're going to use. We will set the standards of how. So when we're actually performing quality, we'll have a guy there who's in charge of quality. Says, all right, trucks just come in. He'll stop the truck. He'll get a sample of concrete. He'll give it to somebody to do a test. If that test fails, he sends the truck back. Okay? Keep laying concrete. He goes back. He sees another 2 miles of concrete have been laid. He goes back 2 miles. He drills into the road, gets a sample, and tests it. Okay? When you're doing the planning, that's when you're ensuring that, well, it's not that you're ensuring. When you're doing the planning, that's when you're setting up how you will perform quality assurance. Remember, Sasha, you have experts there. You won't know how to do this. You'll ask them how to do it. Then all you do is you record the information and you create the plan with their knowledge. Okay? So that brings us to quality control. Anton, could you please read the definition for quality control?
The process of monitoring and recording results of executing the quality activities to assess performance and recommend necessary changes. These processes interact with each other and with processes in the other knowledge areas as described in detail in Chapter 3.
Okay, I'm going to delete that last sentence because we don't really care about that right now.
Yeah.
So control quality. Okay, so we've done the tests, right? Raphael.
Okay.
So you're my boss, you're the project manager. Now, I just tested a cement truck, and the cement is too liquidy. If we pour this, there's no way the cement is going to be strong enough to support heavy traffic. It's failed the test. What do I need to do?
I think we need to reject this cement.
Yeah.
And make a report or something like that.
Exactly. So we're monitoring and recording the results. We want to know all the results. We want to know the progress. Because Raphael needs to be able to take it to his bosses and say, hey, we've tested the concrete. It's been within tolerance. The project is successful. If he goes, I don't know, I think it's okay, he's fired. Highways cost millions or billions of dollars. Okay, so we collect information, and we want to make sure that it meets the right performance or criteria, right? So we perform certain activities, and we want to ensure that it meets the quality. If it doesn't, we recommend necessary changes. Check the information. Is the concrete stable enough? Is it of the right quality? Yes, good. No? Okay. How does it fail? What's wrong with it? And what's my necessary change? Reject the truck, send another one. Okay?
But to recommend these changes, I think I need assessment or something, some advice from the SME or no.
Yeah, well, when you're performing the quality, right? Okay, you'll get the information, but when you did the planning, you had the subject expert there, and so let's talk to Nora here. Nora, so if we're trying to figure out, well, how do we determine whether the concrete is a high quality or not? Well, we would get a concrete expert, wouldn't we?
Yeah, of course.
What kind of questions do you think we might ask that concrete expert?
What's the quality of the concrete? How can it how much time would it last?
Yeah, so you tell them, we want this road to last 30 years. And then we would ask, what kind of tests do we need to perform? Right? You don't have to be an expert to ask this. What kind of tests do we need to perform? Guess what? That person will tell you. Then you might say, how often to perform? Okay. Then you might say, well, when? Sounds pretty simple, doesn't it? Who, what, when, why, and how.
Yeah.
Okay? It sounds simple. Now, that expert might be giving you some very, very detailed scientific stuff that you've got to write down. What kind of test do we need to perform? Well, we need to perform a tension test, and we need to ensure that when the concrete is put under pressure, that it can at least take 600 newtons of force. Now, what did I just say? I don't even know. I know that newtons has something to do with force. I don't care. Write down what he says. Ask him how we perform that test, when we need to do it, and then find somebody who can do that test for us. You see how easy that is? You don't have to have the answers. You just have to have the questions. And let me share something with you. In project management,
Sorry.
it's the failure to ask questions that can lead to failure. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Yes, Raphael?
Sorry. You mentioned that we must know the questions, but we are not experts at this subject. So how can we make the right questions to the expert, since we don't know exactly, we don't have enough expertise to perhaps do these questions, the right questions?
Great. Who can answer that question?
We have the rules. We have the descriptions. And we have to make this real. So the only question is how to make real.
Okay, so in the planning, yes, we did make the rules, but that's part of the answer. Nora, you were going to say something.
Yeah, I was going to ask the expert will take care of this. You know, when discussing this, of course, I won't hire except someone I trust in his knowledge and his honesty in helping me and his loyalty. So I think he will volunteer to give more
he's
knowledge,
paid,
more
right?
information.
This person is
of course.
paid.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's what we talked about. You get the right subject matter experts here. Now, keep in mind, we're in knowledge area, I think 6. We've done about 7 classes so far. We already know what we're trying to do here. We build out some specifications. What are we doing? What kind of highway are we building? Where are we building it from? What materials are we using? What permits do we have? So we already have an idea of what we're doing, and we hire the right experts to say, look, we want to build a highway. We want it to last 30 years. We want it to go between these 2 cities. We want it to be a minimum of 4 lanes. We might have 100 requirements telling them what we want, and they write a proposal back to us saying, okay, we can build a highway with all these requirements. This is our methodology. This is how we will approach the project. These are our subcontractors. This is our schedule. This is how long each section will take. These are the materials we will use. It might be 1,000 pages long. So you've already been told by the people doing the work how it's going to be done. So you have the information. You need to talk to them and find out, okay, what do we need to do to test to ensure the quality of the road and the project is met? You talk to your subject matter experts. You plan the quality. You perform the tests. And you must monitor, control those tests to ensure your quality is met. Let's look at the definition of project quality management. It includes all the processes and activities, that's monitoring, controlling, planning, right, by the organization that determine quality policies, objectives, and responsibilities. Why? To satisfy the needs, just to build the road. Okay. We use policies, procedures. Okay. We use standards. Raphael, does that help?
I think so. I think it can help.
You got to keep in mind, you can't be responsible for everything here. Now it's tough because I haven't done a class in about 2 weeks, and not all of you have attended all of my classes. When we started this project, we talked about building a highway. We talked about integration management, about developing a charter that lays out exactly what the project must do. We talked about the scope of a project, exactly what the road will look like, all the details about it. We talked about time management and all the activities that go into building a road. Do we start building a road? No, we need to get approvals and permits. And before we get approvals and permits, what do we need to do? We need to plan. Well, before we plan, what do we need to do? We need to design, right? So it's laying out all the activities. Then we talked about cost management. So when we send out our requirements and get proposals back, they might say, yes, this highway will cost $2.3 billion. Okay? Again, we want to monitor the progress to make sure we're on time, because if we're not on time, generally that means it's going to cost more. But we want to monitor the scope. Are people changing things? Do people want the highway to be lighted the entire way? Well, that'll add a lot of money. Time as well. And now we're talking about quality. Quality is done at every part of the project. Quality is what you do to ensure that your final product meets the requirements for the project. So again, what were those? Well, you guys told me that you wanted a high-speed road that connects two cities. You wanted to use exits and entrance ramps. You wanted to add more lanes to take into account more traffic entering the highway or more traffic leaving the highway. And you told me you wanted the road to last for 30 years. Okay? So let's summarize a little bit. What's the first process we do with project quality management?
Plan.
Okay, good. Raphael? Yeah, we need to plan. Right? Very first thing we do is we plan quality management. What's the second process that we need to do? Anton?
Perform.
Yeah, perform, execute, do the work. Right? How many times do we create some sort of a plan and then we just put it on a shelf somewhere? You can't just plan something, you must do it. Sounds obvious, doesn't it, Sasha?
Uh-huh.
But on large projects, if you don't have processes and procedures in place, you forget things, right? So, Nora, what's the last process?
Controlling.
Yeah, controlling. And what do we do with controlling? What is done in this process?
Yeah, well, we monitor and we see all the mistakes that have been done, and then we suggest solutions to them and changes.
Yeah, so we look at the results. Now we have an electrical engineer in the class. Hi, Raphael.
Right.
Now let's imagine that I'm going to make some fake numbers here, but we want to test the strength of concrete. And let's say for the road to be successful, it needs to be between 6 and 8, I don't know, tons per square foot. Okay?
Okay.
So we've done our plan, now we start performing quality tests, and the first test comes in at 7. Okay, it passes, good. We look at the numbers, it passes. The next test is 7.1. Okay, still passes. Next test is 7.3. Does this look pretty good, guys?
I don't think so.
Why not?
Because the results are varying. I think perhaps in medium or long term, these results can be out of the average. I think out of the limits.
Okay. Look what quality control, monitoring and recording the results. It has passed. But Raphael's right. There's a trend here, and the trend is upwards. Is there a problem? No. No, there isn't. Okay. So Raphael is right. There is a trend, and we need to pay attention to it, but there's nothing wrong. Because remember, we've already said our tolerance is between 6 to 8, and 7.3 is well within that range. Not a problem. Well, let's continue. Now we get a 7.7. Nora, should we be concerned? Nora.
Yeah, I think yes.
Okay. Do we fail the concrete? Do we send the truck back, or do we pour it?
I didn't actually get the numbers. What do they mean? But I see there is a big difference. So maybe there's a problem.
Well, so let me do your question. We've already said at the beginning when we plan the quality that the concrete must be between 6 and 8 tons per square foot.
So yeah, it's best.
So the last measurement is
no,
7.7.
No, that's okay.
Yeah. So again, we can pour the concrete, but at this point, I would be very concerned because it's been trending upwards and it just took a major jump. What might we do, guys? Concerned. Yeah. Do we contact anybody?
Yes, I think we should contact the provider of this cement, this concrete, and perhaps and make reports of this to the and give this information to the project manager. Communicates.
Yeah. Okay. Very, very important. Right? And that's a whole other knowledge area where we talk about communication management. So you're right. 7.0, 7.1, 7.3, not a big deal. But we should be concerned and monitor it so that it doesn't become a problem. Everything is passed here. Now, should we hit 8.1? Yeah, we fail the concrete. But somebody would ask, well, why didn't you catch it here?
Yeah.
Right? So that's very important.
Analyze.
Yeah. Now I'm going to do another project management class next week. What I do recommend, because this class is mostly about vocabulary, I do teach you real life examples related to project management, but the real focus is on business processes and vocabulary. But you kind of need to remember what we've talked about before for it to be the most effective. Otherwise, I spend part of the class reviewing what we've done before. Any questions?
Mr. Is it okay? Yeah, is it okay that we didn't attend any of the previous classes?
Yeah, it's
Is there
fine.
anything that we have to review?
It helps if you review because then it makes sense. The context of what we're talking about makes sense. Because we're talking about quality here, and yet you have no idea what we've done in the past, right? So it's a little harder. But it's very simple to look at the three different processes here and to know that we need to plan, execute, and then monitor. And that's something you can take away and learn. It's very important in business to have processes to help you plan. You then need processes to guide how you execute that plan. In this case, perform quality assurance. And then you have processes that monitor and control the results. We control our quality. Works on software engineering, electrical engineering, you name it, as long as it's a project. Okay, so next week we're going to talk about human resource management. These are the resources you will need for building a highway. How do we get them? How do we train them? How do we release them from the project? All coming up next week. Guys, thank you so much for coming. I'm going to be back in just under an hour, and we're going to have a class on small talk. It's at the intermediate level. It'll be a lot easier than this class, and it should be a lot of fun too. I hope to see you guys then.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.